Hello everyone, I am Phoenix Tremaine and this is my review of the Haves and Have Nots. Um, I'm going to try to make this a fast one because the episode was kind of boring and repetitive and they have these long ass scenes that don't say a lot. The actors repeat the same dialogue over and over again. So here are my notes. Um, and I'm going to hit you off with what happened in the Have and Have Nots. Hopefully next week it'll pick up a little bit better. Um, this week we had Quincy begging for his life. As a paramedic, I can tell you that Quincy in real life would have been dead a long time ago because we only have so much blood in the body, and he would have bled out by now. He was stabbed multiple times. He's in a pool of blood. There's blood all over the walls, and he's spitting blood. So he would have been dead by now from exsanguination. Ex- I forgot how to pronounce it, but it's blood loss. Um, so Quincy's begging for his life. He's trying to tell Candace, she needs to call an ambulance because he knows a secret about her son. And that if he does not tell her the secret, the son will die. And she doesn't believe him, so she says that after all you put me through, I'm gonna sit here and watch you die. So he calls her, a bunch of names, whatever, and she just looks at him like, hurry up and die, bitch. Then we have the sequence with the police officer, who turns out to be on the DL. Yes, white people can be DL too. Um, and he pulls over and he has Jeffrey, puts him in the back seat and gets in the back with him and pretty much says, "Give me some head and I'll let you go." And the whole time he's calling him, you disgust me, what do you do with boys? I know it's disgusting. And actually, I know people like this who've been in that scenario, and we'd be like, "Suck my dick," and then you'd be like, "No," and they'd be like, "Well, I was just joking." And if you tried, I would have punched you in the mouth. That actually happened to me in high school, and I was like, "No," and the guy was like, "Yeah, but I was just saying that, and I tell nobody." I bet if I had done it, it would have been done, but I said no. Um, that was somebody on the football team. Um, and then we have basically the police officer. His name's Justin. He gets a call from the precinct. They've been looking for Jeffrey, and so he's forced to not rape him and take him to the station and threatens him if he tells all these bad things will happen, that he's going to arrest him for saying that he tried to do it or whatever. So I think we're going to see more of this Justin dude. And then we have Benny in a stupid ass scene where Benny feels overwhelmed. Now, instead of hiring people for his company, like a receptionist and, managers, he decides to go to the hood and he wants War and his other guy to be partners with him, even though everything's paid for and he doesn't really need a partner and he has more than enough trucks. He says he feels overwhelmed with so much work and so many trucks that he really wants partners to really help him out. During this time, he starts talking about how Candace paid everything off and paid millions of dollars for houses, and War realizes that Candace did not give him his proper due, her cut of the money that she blackmailed. Um, and so he's getting mad, and he decides to go pay Candace a visit. Um, but the fact that Benny is saying he wants these two guys to be reformed and go legit and stop being thugs, and I can understand if they had established that these characters were friends from the beginning. That he may want his friends to come out from being hustlers and whatnot. But I kind of see them pretty much bringing his business down by doing things they ain't supposed to do, laundering money or whatever. So Benny may not have his company much longer. Then we have Hannah being a dumbass because she won't live with Benny. She's still trying to stay in the hotel, and she's asking them, can she just be a maid because she can't really afford the room. And they're like, no, you're gonna have to get out on Monday at about 3 o'clock. And then she calls the social worker who tells her if she doesn't have a place to live, then they're taking a kid. And she's like, she's going to talk to her employer who had offered her to live in a crier mansion. And I'm surprised that no one, the social worker, I'm sure, if it's this big of a deal all over the news, knows what happened to criers, that she didn't say nothing. But Hannah's now under the gun. But as Quincy tried to tell Candace at the beginning of the episode something's wrong with the son, Hannah, the boy's telling her that he's hot and he needs his medicine. And Hannah's like, well, the hospital didn't give me any medicine. And he's sweating, and she's like, oh, it's just the covers are hot. And this particular scene made me mad because a lot of people are saying Candace wouldn't be a good mother, that Hannah would be a good mother, and a good mother would say, what medicine? A good mother would take him to the doctors and say, he's complaining, I don't know what medicine he needs, but is there something in his records that he needs? The boy is hot. It ain't covers. So a good mother would check and make sure that there's not something else going on. And the fact that Hannah would get into bed and go to sleep while this boy is sick, and she doesn't know a definitive answer of what's going on, shows how negligent she is, because she could wake up and he could be dead. So that really made me think twice about Hannah's dumbass. She wanted the kid so bad, but when he gets sick, she's neglecting him, even though she doesn't realize that she is. And then we have Wyatt. He's about to get his $12 million that his grandfather gave him, and he decides to celebrate with cocaine and alcohol and all this kind of stuff. And what got me was he came to the door in his underwear. In the last episode, he said some girls were coming over. There were no girls to be found. The person at that door he was expecting, one of them was Jeffrey. The only girl he wanted was Jeffrey. And so, instead it was his drug dealer who he didn't have any money, so he gave him his parents' credit cards to do whatever he's going to do with. And they decide to party, and he pays for coke and he pays for pee so that he can pee and, the drug tests come up clean. However, I have a feeling, just based on the way the scene played out, the guy's like, it's $8,000 worth of coke. These guys, if I don't pay them their money, then they're gonna come after me, and then they're gonna come after you. And this being a soap opera, his pee is probably gonna come up dirty. This is my prediction. His pee is gonna come up dirty. He won't be able to pay the guy. The guy will probably get killed or hurt in the hospital. Then they're gonna come after Wyatt, and Wyatt is going to need his parents' help so that he doesn't get killed by these people he brought the drugs from that he can't afford, because he probably is not going to get his money. And then finally in the jail, Maggie's plan goes to fruition, where they get it's in the newspaper that Veronica had an affair, and so Veronica gets the paper. Well, Catherine gets the paper, and then she shares with Veronica, oh, you're having an affair. Veronica snaps at her, and Catherine looks at her, and she kind of catches herself, because she realizes she doesn't want to get on Catherine's bad side. And then, she's like, oh, I bet David already knows that he got a copy of this paper too. And yes, he did get a copy of the paper, but being the pussy that he is, all he does is sit down and look upset. He's not cursing, he's not damning. It seems that in Tyler Perry's world, only white men can be strong, powerful men who get shit done. Instead, David is a weak little pussy who is almost like a slave to his wife, and he's a slave to Jim Cryer. He gave Jim Cryer's money back. Jim Cryer's trying to kill his wife, and he still is like, don't you do that. So it really annoys me that Tyler would make Jim Cryer the Blake Carrington type character, very powerful, and the only rich black man on there, which is David, the only other one on there, is such unbelievable pussy. And it just kind of shows what the writers think, because I know Tyler Perry isn't personally writing this, but it kind of shows what the writers are thinking about how they view white men and how they are powerful and they get shit done and they make shit happen. And then you have somebody like David, who's essentially a slave to wherever the wind blows. And I can't stand it. So that I lost respect for them, just for that little part of the storyline. But hopefully you enjoyed this. That was the show. Oh, and at the very end, Ward goes to Candace's house, and he is about to kill her. About his money, shaking her up, throwing against the wall. And then he's like, "Bitch, I'm gonna kill you. Bitch, I'm gonna kill you." And then then he sees Quincy's dead body, and it goes off. But seeing that Candace doesn't look banged up or nothing in the promo for next week, he ain't gonna do nothing to her. So, in fact, he'll probably be the one that gets rid of the body. So that was the Have and Have Not this week. If you haven't done so, please subscribe to me. Also, you'll see Twitter and Instagram. I'm trying to build my Twitter and Instagram following. Also, you can try to get in there on my Facebook too. My Facebook is usually filled, but I do a lot of entertainment news and reviews and even some of my production work in there. And so I just post a lot of stuff today too. So join me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and get all the latest news and a lot of things I have going on. And thank you for watching.